What's going on, yo? What is going on? Okay, so we learned about recursion on the last Mastering Backend Engineering episode. We are here to learn some more shenanigans together. I love the backend engineering series because it just hurts my brain every time. You know what I mean? And that's what we're here for. So we're dealing with the function transformations here in today's episode. Excited to get to closures and currying and decorators. I'm actually only familiar with closures out of that bunch. So I'm excited to embellish the skill set even more. Let's learn about function transformations. Function transformation is just a more concise way to describe a specific type of higher order functions. Okay, so a higher order function from my recall is we just pass in a function into a function. The function becomes the parameter. So let's just double check that real quick. A higher order function is a function that does at least one of the following: takes one or more functions as the arguments and returns a function as a result, one of the two, or one or more of the following. So it could return a function, it could accept a function. Basically, it's associated with it's the middleware of a function. Basically, is what I identify a higher order function of. Okay, so let's take a look at the example self math function right here. So we have addition self math and define the inner function right here, and it's returning a math function. Interesting. And then all of that is returning the inner function. So we kind of have a sub function that's both a higher order function in both ways, or just one of the ways I should say. It's returning a function, and then that's very interesting. Okay, so the self math the self math function, the self math function takes a function that itself accepts two arguments as its argument. It returns a new function that calls the original function with the same argument twice. Interesting, right? That is really interesting. So it accepts a function. The inner function accepts x. The math function is 2xing it basically, or accepting two parameters. I'm not sure what the math function actually is doing. Where's the math func? Let's see, self math. Oh, multiply right here. Boom. Okay, so gosh, what an interesting bit, right? So the assignment here, let's kind of skip forward to the assignment. So Doc2Doc needs a good logging system so that the users and developers alike can see what's going on under the hood, especially when errors occur. Complete the getLogger function. It takes a formatter function as a parameter and returns a new function. So let's take a little look-see. So we have our getLogger function. Where is that formatter function? I'm not seeing it. See, my Grammarly's trying to police me right here. Get out of here, Grammarly. How do you deactivate this, right? You know what I mean? I don't want to see it right now. I don't want to see it. I don't want to get. Go on get. There's got to be an easy way. Quit Grammarly, right? Boom. There we go. Okay, that might have just messed it up for me in every other sites, but tomato. We got priorities here, which is learning function transformations. Okay, so let's see. Complete the getLogger function. It takes a formatter. Oh, boom. There's the formatter function. As a parameter, it returns a new function. So let's go ahead and just return a new function real quick. So I'll say return new func. And I imagine we're going to have to do something with this new func, right? So maybe we'll define it in here. And let's see. The new function prints the formatted inputs using the formatter function. Okay. The inputs should be passed into the formatter. So maybe we have inputs like this, right? Let's see. The inputs should be passed into the formatter function in the order they are given to the logger function. Colon, delimit, and dash delimit functions are formatters. So here's what they're referencing here. The colon, delimit, and the dash delimit function, that will be passed out into our getLogger function by the test. Super interesting stuff, right? So I'm not sure how well this is going to go, to be honest with y'all. So let's see. So the new function here, not sure where the argument comes from, right? So do we say this takes first, I suppose, and then returns the formatter input? So we can have first and first, something like this, maybe. Run it. No. Okay. Super interesting, right? This function are formatters that will be passed into our getLogger function. Okay, so we do need two parameters then, but I don't know where this first would come from then. I'm not understanding this bit in my brain. My head's trying to identify where does this x come from? Where does it come from? To return inner function, right? New function right here is the inner function for this person here. And we have the formatter, which is, yeah, so I feel like we're modeling this really well. I don't see where this first would technically come from, right? So colon delimit, are these the things that it needs? Is colon delimit and dash delimit? Is that what it's kind of referencing? First is not defined. I know it's not defined. I'm trying to figure out how this x is defined, right? Square function, inner function. Yeah, we're gonna have to peek see at the solution here because I'm not understanding how this bit is defined. I really don't. So okay, so define logger first, second, and print formatter. Oh, I think we weren't too far off where I left off, right? So we had first, second, but where is first and second still defined? I still don't understand how does this get defined? Is it because of this? Because it's somehow passing it into itself? Is that literally what's going on here? I don't know. I don't know, but that's very interesting, right? So the inner function could pass this to itself. Is that what I'm understanding here? The inner function. So we have new function math func. So if I say formatter pass this, and I could pass first to itself, is that the, let's see. Is that how it works? I suppose that would kind of make sense because then you're passing it in first. This is one of those where my smooth brain. No, I don't want to say that about myself, but it's one of those things where it hurts my brain. It really does because I don't understand how you could pass these in to the formatter function, which doesn't exist yet until this get-logger deal is constructed. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. We'll run with it for now, but my brain's not fully adhering that. To be honest, I still don't. We'll move forward. We'll move forward. So what does the expression self math add return? Let's see. Self math add. So return x plus x, would it not? Function self math would return inner function. Let's think about it. So what expression? This is certainly a new territory for me. 100%. So we would accept the add bit, right? So you pass in the add bit, it seems, to the math function. So add, right? I think what it's ultimately asking is what would it return here on this line? So it would be a function, but is it not the integer of this function of the function, right? I'll try that. An integer. Function, an integer. So a function. The old guess and check. So returns this is what it's saying. But would this math function not just be this add function that's passed into the self math function, which returns the integer? Wouldn't this be the lowest scope thing that's returning? Or is it asking what this whole thing would return, which is the inner function? Is this math function, which would still in my brain be this. Hopefully this is entertaining for y'all. Hopefully this is entertaining with y'all because I'm not grasping. I you know what I mean? It's taking some time to download, to stick, to get in my head here. So where can inner function be called from directly? So inner function can be called from directly in the math, only within self math, right? Sweet. Okay, so scope still makes sense in all this. That lines up great. I still don't understand this bit. Where does the x come from? Does it come literally from here where we're accepting itself here and then you're able to define your parameters of whatever you want right here and therefore this could literally accept whatever? That's the thing that doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You know what I mean? So, okay, so complete the doc format checker and converter function. It takes a conversion function and a list of valid formats as parameters. It should return a new function that takes two parameters of its own, file name and content. Okay, so that's going to be, I imagine, this bit right here. We're going to have file name and content. So let's just steal this real quick. This witchcraft right here. And we want to say it takes in file name, right? And content. So content. Boom. But this needs to be a conversion function, so we have a math func, right? Oh, this does not make shit for sense, guys. I'm being honest. My brain hurts on this. My brain really does. So math func, what is the math func here? Ooh, I've got this mucked up here. So define, we can name this whatever we want. We'll just say func name. Just to remind myself, it could be whatever we want. And how is this what we're looking at? No. Well, at least it's printing. At least it's printing. That's at least something. That's a win to me. That's a win to me. So it takes a conversion function and a list of valid formats as parameters. Okay, so let's see. If the file extension of the file name is invalid, I can't logically even do this bit because I can't. We'll try to break it down, but I'm still just like, I'm not even past 0.0 yet of like, how does this witchcraft work? Okay, so let's see. So if the file extension of file name is invalid formats, so maybe we could do some looping through it real quick, it should return the result of calling the conversion function on the content. Otherwise, it should raise an exception error. Fuck me on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? And it's Friday. It's not even Tuesday. You know what I mean? Not even Tuesday. So, man. So we'll say for valid format, invalid formats. I can get there. If valid format is in, let's see, or if file name, excuse me. But where do we do this? You know what I mean? It has to be here then. Valid formats. The conversion function can accept file name. Therefore, we can pull that witchcraft out of whatever we want, I suppose. So maybe file name needs to go here, right? Let's see. Oh, if we land this, I'm celebrating so hard. I hope you guys know. I hope you know. If file name equals valid format, or can we say the opposite? If file name is not, or I think we could do this. Else, right? Else throw new exception, right? Something like that. Oh, raise exception. Whoops, guys. Raise exception or raise a value error. Got it. Okay, so invalid file format. Boom. Okay, let's see if this witchcraft works. I would have celebrated so hard. You guys don't understand. So, okay, so for valid format in tip, I use the split method on file name. So what do we even get here? I suppose that's a good start to see if we're even firing off something. File. I'm not seeing that at all. Oh, this section is just tearing up my sweet little brain. You know what I mean? My sweet big brain. My sweet genius brain. But I'm running out of genius on this specific segment, right? Okay, so here's what we're given. So we have some file formats, it looks like, which is awesome. And this function itself the conversion function is a function. So that's great. That at least allows me to understand something, right? So the conversion function accepts the file name and the content. Is the file name the name of the file to be converted? The content is the body of the file to be converted. Okay. So the conversion function, we could say test here, and I'll say test here, right? Let's see if this function can at least print us something. So that kind of broke it. Maybe this needs to be .txt or something, or just txt, not .txt. Let's see. File name, sample text. Okay. Expecting. I don't really feel like screaming today. Actual. Ay, folks. Ay. This is some stuff right here. So we get this list of files. So we're at least there, right? We got valid formats coming in. If file name equals valid format, return the conversion function of this. I feel like it's not that far off. Let's pixie at the solution. Inner converter. Oh, shoot, we weren't too far off, right? So this inner conversion function needs the content as well to be passed in it. Got it. Okay, so that's again how we define this witchcraft somehow. I thought the conversion function, I thought they said it takes two things. It should take a new function. Okay, so that's the new function. Yeah, I'm still guys, I'm not gonna lie. Usually I can kind of get stuff on the fly. Sometimes, it really downloads to my brain really quick. I'm like, I can piece things together. Debugging skills off the charts. This right here, not off the charts. This one right here, being transparent, It's a doozy. It's a doozy for me. So let's see. So file extension, file name split. So he's splitting, taking the file extension. I thought we were given the file extensions just from the file name. I thought that was something we were actually passed already. So let's see. Print file name here. Here, boom, test. Okay, boom. So we do need to do that. So file name dot split at the period, and we could take the -1th element. So the last element in the array. If we just do this split, it'll split it into two things into an array. So we have testing and doc when it's testing.doc. So we'll just take the doc part. So here's just the doc bit. Okay, so that makes sense. So that's the file extension. If file extension is in, I see. So we're, got it. Okay, so that is what we're checking for here. So if file name is in this bit, let's go ahead and just get out of this whole deal. Try to understand this a little bit more. Are we there? Are we there? No. Return conversion function with the content. This is the bit I don't understand. How do you know what the function is doing and needing? And that's still not even it. That's still not even the answer. So we can't have an else here. It has to just default to it. It looks like, oh, looks like we can't just do that either. So let's say file. If file is in valid formats, boom. Okay, we're still missing something. There's still an entire bit of logic not clicking off in my brain, but seems like, oh, valid formats, boom. I see. If file in valid formats, boom, boom, boom. Okay, we'll try that bit one more time. Sweet. Okay. Ay, folks. Yeah, that hurts my brain. That hurts my brain. It really does. It really does. So I don't understand how this part happens. Like we just throw file name in there because we're like, oh, you know what? We need a file name, so we'll just throw it in there. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. I still don't. Like, can we just add another random parameter? Random param, and if we never use it, will it still work? No, it fails now. Okay. But what if we just put this to nothing? Okay, I guess it works now. So we can just add parameters as we want. Is that part of it? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it real quick, but let's try to either move on or let's see if there's some more of these. Oh, that's the end of it. Okay, so I want to try to rewrite this real quick, just without looking at it, try to let the brain kind of forget what we just saw, so I can actually kind of piece it apart, step by step, right? So I want to get it. You know what I mean? I want to understand it. So the inner function, what we need is file name and content. So we do this bit right here, and now I have access to the file name that doesn't exist. How does the file name begin? How do either of these two things exist? Is all I'm just weirdly confused about. Okay. At least you guys know that I make authentic content. This is transparent content because it's a whole deal. You know what I mean? It's me trying to figure it out live, and I love it because I think it's very reflective of the actual engineering process where you're having to iron things out very on the fly and try to understand things when you don't. And that's engineering in a nutshell. So now I don't understand how I have access to the file name and content. But if I return now the conversion function and pass in, let's say, that content, now all of a sudden I have access to these things, right? So let's see. Here. Boom, 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 boom. This is what I don't understand. How the absolute fetch does the file name come in here? So we have return inner function, which just it's still just not clicking, folks. You know what I mean? I'm trying to piece it apart in my brain many times. So I understand the valid formats. We're just passing that in, right? Here. Boom. So that's that. I understand the conversion function. So if this gets passed in, maybe I need to see how they're testing it, right? Conversion function, boom. Okay, so conversion func, let's see, conversion func, test, boom, valid formats. Where is the conversion function? Where is it? Conversion func, test, file name. I see they've done some sort of private class here. Okay. Okay. So conversion function still takes, does it just take whatever we give it at this point? So if I want to give it some random parameter here, right? Is that now what the content will be? Oh. This is probably how they write the red and Twin Peaks. Great. Great. Look at that. That's funny. Okay, so yeah, guys, I'll be entirely transparent. Still don't get it. Still don't get it. Now I understand what I need to do for the thing, right? So we need to break down some file name, split it at the period, take the -1 element, check if file in formats. Like I get all this, but I'm just not understanding as I've said now 50 times, right? But tomato. Oh, I'm missing something. 1 bit. File name content. I'll raise the error if there is no invalid file format deal. Boom. Okay. So that's the answer. I can syntactically like reproduce syntax very quickly, but to conceptually understand something, I'm still not there with it, to be entirely transparent. So why transform? You might be wondering, when would I use function transformations in the real world? Isn't it simpler just to define functions at top level of the code and call them as needed? Good question. To be clear, we don't just transform functions on the fly for the fun of it. We only use advanced techniques like function transformations when they make our code simpler than it would to be otherwise. So code reusability, using generalized functions to create variations of the same function to reduce code duplication is a common programming pattern. Function transformations are just one way to do it. Take a look at the formatter function. It accepts pattern and returns a new function that formats text according to that pattern. Okay, so here's the formatting of it. Now we can create new matters easily. Cool. Look at that. Use them like this. Oh, very interesting. Okay, so closures. 90% of the time when I use function transformations because I want to create a closure. We'll talk about closures in the next chapter. Fun. We should use, when it results in more readable code, is when we should use function transformations. Great. And could we rewrite the formatter function without a function transformation? Yes, but it might be less friendly to do something like this over and over. Perfect. All right. I probably need to do a little bit more due diligence on understanding how conceptually to do that, because it's yeah. For some reason, maybe this will make a little bit more sense. So the text gets passed into the inner function. The inner function returns the result. I don't understand where that comes from. You know what I mean? Is this? Oh, you know what? I guess seeing it this way kind of makes sense. This is where the text would be. So we use the formatter to kind of as a wrapper to use something, and then using that function, right? As hey, we've already declared how you're going to use the functionality of this thing. Now, when we wrap it and use the text, that's where the text comes from. So that kind of makes sense. Seeing it that way from a scope access kind of standpoint makes a little more sense in my brain. As you can see, though, it's tough for me to understand that. But I will see you guys on the next one. This is certainly a fruitful lesson learning function transformations. So I hope it was entertaining for you. Cheers.